Maybe that's gonna go in the video like, hey Rye, nice shoes.
You can ride your mountain bike at Crystal Mountain Ski Resort in the summer after the snow melts. No, you can't take your bike on the gondola. You'll have to climb 3,000 feet over approximately 13 miles on a 2-sandwich ride, which feels every bit as steep as it sounds. The loop starts here at the Norse Peak Trailhead, where the preferred route is to ride a clockwise loop that starts with a climb up Gold Hill Road. The climbing, as I mentioned, is not trivial. Let's find out if it's worth it though. But first, make sure you like and subscribe, and then navigate to patreon.org/voiceovertrails to sign up to support this channel. Driving all over the state, writing these reviews, keeping up with all my equipment needs isn't free and it takes time, so I could use your support to help this channel support itself. Gold Hill Road starts out as a nicely paved, well-graded road, but you're gonna gain about 700 feet over approximately 3 miles here, which makes for a nice warm-up. When you get to this intersection, stay to the right on the actual road grade. Don't go riding your bike into the Norse Peak wilderness. If bike rubber touches any part of that, it will be sullied, ceasing to ever be untrammeled wilderness ever again. The bloom will wilt and fall off its stem as its beauty withers away. Anyway, after about 3 miles, the road breaks out onto the first gladed ski run at Crystal Mountain, specifically the Gold Hills ski run, which to me looks like it mostly is where the ski racers practice in the winter. This view is pretty. It's going to be pretty gorgeous like this for most of the rest of the ride, actually. Things do get pretty steep once you leave the glade and ride back into the woods here. Like, we were getting off of our bikes to push them up the grade because of the steepness. This is actually the reason a lot of folks argue that this loop should be ridden counterclockwise to avoid pushing your bike up the trails on this side of the resort. But those people are wrong, for reasons that will become more obvious in a couple of minutes. I won't bore you with details about how steep and gnarly the trails are in the woods. They're steep and you'll need to push your bike a lot. It is what it is. Eventually, at about the 4-mile mark from the beginning of this ride over around 1,500 feet of climbing, you'll arrive at Henskin Lake. Apparently, people hike to this place and they camp here. Good on them. Now go filter some water if you were one of those people who started out with only a liter in your backpack. The climbing doesn't get any easier after the lake, it gets harder. Stay to the right at this intersection because you don't care about Upper Henskin Lake, or maybe you do care about Upper Henskin Lake. You do you. Ride your ride. Either way, the loop continues to the right. Pretty quickly, after some bike pushing, the trail will open up onto these pretty alpine meadows. This meadow here is also the Silver Basin exit, which means I totally skied here with my college friend like 18 years ago when we hiked over to the top of this. Pretty rad. Oh, hey, remember when I said the preferred way to ride this is clockwise, not counterclockwise? Yes, I see the argument for riding down this terrain instead of up it, but you see those people-shaped animals on 2 legs walking toward me in this video? Yeah, those are hikers. And there's lots of them on this trail. They ride the gondola up and then they hike down. Do not ride this counterclockwise on a weekend. You're the one being a jerk if you're descending this trail on a weekend. At approximately 2,000 feet of climbing, you'll come to this road crossing. Isn't this exciting? You only have another 1,003 feet of climbing until you get to the top. If you've ever skied here, riding through this area is just plain rad. There are also even more hikers in this zone, so for the trouble, I'd really rather be climbing so that I have an excuse to stop and look around as I yield to hikers. Remember, always yield to hikers. It gives you a chance to catch your breath. Also, the bench is really narrow here, so courtesy is of the utmost importance for everyone's safety. I'm going to reiterate that if you're descending this on a weekend, you're the jerk. It's not reasonable to expect hikers to be yielding to downhill mountain bikers on a bench that's this narrow. Also, don't stand in the middle of the Frisbee golf course blocking the target like I'm doing right here. Yeah, this view is gorgeous, but seriously, I'm right in the way. Somebody had to tell me I was in the way of the target. Anyway, look up at the ridge. By the way, there's avalanche control devices up there. It's kind of cool to see that, the infrastructure that you need for a ski resort. This is seriously my favorite kind of alpine trail where, you know, you can just see it zigzag right up the hillside. It's steep here, but it's also the last push. So I took this opportunity to chill out for a bit and enjoy a couple of shot blocks. Oh, hey, this is what the trail looks like after the switchback. Only about 500 feet of elevation gain to the top. Also, the views, so transcendent. But you're not done. It gets better from here. It actually just gets better. Eventually, the trail joins up with the road and you pedal up the road for a while, and then the road drops you at the top of the Green Valley ski lift. There's a pretty commanding view of Rainier from here, but it was shrouded in clouds the day we were riding. At least the sign at the top is scenic. Now, you can continue up the road to the top of the Mount Rainier gondola, which is where all the hikers are coming from. I'm going to not bore you with more information about how many lifts intersect up here. There's like 3. Oh, by the way, they do weddings at Crystal Mountain too. But you know what Crystal Mountain doesn't do? They don't shut half the place down just because someone's having a wedding. They don't fear bridezilla here. Maybe the management at Ski Bowl should come up here, take some notes. There's a restaurant at the top of the Rainier gondola. Did I fail to mention that? Yeah, there's a restaurant at the top of this ride. It's your typical ski resort bar and grill type of place. You can get yourself a beer and like probably a burger or something. I think people were getting pretzels with cheese. I don't know. I brought food. I know I have eaten pizza up here before, but that was 18 years ago. I'm not a restaurant critic. It's pretty rad that there's a restaurant here. I'm stoked with that. Doesn't take much to please me. Anyhow, you can enjoy the views, go pee, get some beer, go pee again, chat with the tourists, and then head down the hill. First, go left at the top of this ski lift. Then when you get to the intersection where this kid is standing, go left again. Hopefully that kid isn't still there when you come to ride this. That would be a problem. You'll coast down some more road and then arrive at this intersection with Upper Northway and Morning Glory. I hope you're catching this go left motif because you're going to go left again. Then you'll get to this little intersection where, once again, you want to take the trail to the left. It's literally all downhill from here. In late summer, the trail becomes very dusty. The bench is narrow, eroded, and off camber. I recommend staggering about 30 seconds between riders to avoid the dreaded black boogers at the end of your ride. There's a lot of exposure in this top section. Ride with care. The surface is pretty soft up here. It's that kind of alpine to subalpine soil that doesn't really consolidate very well and will never be particularly packed down. I do imagine it's got to be better after a few rain showers. So this trail is loose and it's steep. That's pretty much what it's going to be all the way down to the bottom. The switchbacks are tight on this, but they're all totally rideable. This section of the trail where you can look up at the folks coming down is pretty cool though. There are some rutted out sections where it definitely becomes somewhat of a dirt bobsled experience in here. The number of users on this trail does not come without consequence. Controlling speed and direction is a bit of a challenge as there are dust pits that just want to suck your front wheel in at pretty much every turn. If you were riding this the wrong direction, counterclockwise, you'd encounter this on the way up, and it would technically be an easier climb than pushing your bike up the way that we went. But even on Labor Day weekend, we only encountered 3 hikers coming up at us when we descended this. I hope that fact alone illustrates my point about which direction you should be riding this loop. Don't be the jerk. Like pretty much any trail that descends a mountain, the forest becomes thicker and the tread duffier as you descend. This is no exception, as the trail descends through multiple different climate zones on the way back to the car. The tread tightens up in here, the bench gets firmer, and the ride really starts to be a lot of fun through this section. Actually, I think the forest gets downright pretty down here near the bottom. And then just like that, you break out onto the trailhead. From the lower trailhead, it's about a half-mile climb or something, probably more like a quarter mile, back up to the paved road where you'll want to turn left to get back to the car. Have you ridden at Crystal Mountain before? What do you think of this ride if you've been here? Are you planning on coming up here at some point in the future? What did I miss in this review that others should know? Leave me a comment because I like to read your comments. Comments give me affirmation. They make me feel effective. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. I'd like to thank all my Patreon supporters, especially my Loamy Goodness level sponsors who have had access to this video for a week. Damon Corey, Randy Relaford, Ty Morgan Marbit, and Charles Kim, as well as my Hero Dirt sponsors, earning their mention at the end of this video: Bryce Ulrich, Heather Van Valkenburg, Jason Moore, and Pedro Cantarini. Be like these people by navigating to patreon.com/voiceovertrails to help me make this channel even better. Now, get out there and go ride your bike.